Thanks for having me. My name is Hugo del Valle-Inclán from the University of Vigo in Spain, and in this video I'm going to talk about a LIS working paper I wrote about 1 year and a half ago. More specifically, in the first part of the video, I will discuss very briefly what's the paper about. The title of the paper is Measuring Inequality of Opportunity in More Periods Than Ever Before, the Capital Income Approach. Inequality of opportunity is a field that has been growing notably in recent years, despite of the fact that it suffers from many data limitations. What I try to do in this paper is to tackle or address one of them, which is the scarcity of information on family background. Now, we know from research on intergenerational mobility that family background plays a major role in shaping individual outcomes, and therefore you want to account for it when measuring inequality of opportunity. Of course, you cannot directly measure such thing as family background. You cannot put a ruler on it. And hence, the standard practice is to use proxies to account for this reality. In the literature, the common proxies, the proxies commonly employed are parental education and occupation. And even though they are obviously not perfect proxies, they are assumed to work rather okay. The problem or their shortcoming is that they are scarce, meaning that if we are going to rely on their availability, we will only be able to obtain a small number of data points. What I propose is to use instead an alternative and widely available variable to proxy family background. This alternative proxy is capital income. But before moving on, I would like to elaborate on why would we want an alternative proxy of family background. I will give you the example of two databases. On the one hand, the EU-SILC has data on parental education and occupation, these two standard proxies, in only 2 of its 15 waves. On the other hand, the LIS database has information on parental education in 72 of its 407 datasets. However, information on household capital income is available in nearly all datasets of these two databases, meaning that if capital income could indeed be used to proxy family background, we could dramatically increase the number of available data points. What I do in the paper is first check the reliability or accuracy of the method I propose by comparing estimates obtained with a standard approach and with this novel approach I propose. And only to the extent they are similar, I conclude that this new method can be employed. An illustration of the scarcity of data on parental education and occupation is this. What you see are 31 plots, one for each country in the EU-SILC, and in them you see up to 2 red brackets which represent the level of inequality of opportunity in those countries. Of course, there are only 2 or up to 2 in each country because those are the 2 only waves in which these standard proxies of family background are available. You don't really see the level of inequality of opportunity here, but that's not important because the main takeaway from this slide is that using a standard approach, you can only obtain that small amount of inequality of opportunity estimates. Now, okay, we could benefit from using an alternative proxy of family background, but why could capital income, specifically capital income, serve as a proxy of such? So probably the most well-known reference here is Piketty's Capital in the 21st Century, where among other things he talks about patrimonial capitalism, which refers to the importance of bequests and inter vivos gifts on the determination of wealth. There are other references, some came after, some came way before, that point in the same direction. However, bequests and gifts are only 2 of the channels driving intergenerational wealth transmission. Other mechanisms include earnings persistence, shared preferences such as risk tolerance, intergenerational correlation in savings and investment behavior, and intergenerational correlation in human capital accumulation. In addition, the portfolio literature has linked returns on investment to education and financial literacy of individuals, what may suggest the possibility of an indirect link between parental education and children's capital income. Furthermore, in sociology, similar results have been found as well. This is just a small amount of the pretty vast literature on the topic, and by referring to it, I hope I managed to justify that capital income may serve as proxy of family background. Now I will show you some results in which I try to test that empirically. So the first test or preview of the results is this graph in which I compare estimates of inequality of opportunity obtained following a standard approach. This is using information on parental education and occupation. I compare those estimates with the other set, the one obtained with the method I propose. The standard estimates are represented by that dashed black line, and the estimates I obtained with my method are represented by that solid black line. This allows you to check to what extent these two sets of estimates are similar. Another check of the accuracy of reliability of the approach I do is with the EU-SILC. I use two databases in the paper, and well, in this case what you see are two scatter plots. The one on the left is referred to 2004, the one on the right refers to 2010. That's the only difference between them. Of course, these 2 years are the 2 waves in which parental education and occupation is available in the EU-SILC, what I told you before. So aside from that, what you see in the vertical axis is the amount or the level of inequality of opportunity as measured by a standard approach, and on the horizontal axis you see inequality of opportunity as measured by the method I proposed. Also, there are 2 lines. The dashed blue one represents the perfect or ideal data adjustment, which is of course a 45-degree line, and the solid orange line represents the actual or real data adjustment. The fact that these 2 lines overlap almost completely means that with this method I propose, I can obtain inequality of opportunity estimates that are on average virtually identical to those obtained with a standard approach, but while suffering from a substantially less stringent data limitation. Lastly, I would like to finish this part of the video by showing you how can we take advantage of this method that is proposed in the paper. So you will remember these graphs from a few slides ago, and indeed now, apart from the estimates, the levels of inequality of opportunity obtained with a standard approach or calculated with a standard approach, which are represented with these red brackets, you also see the level of inequality of opportunity and its evolution in those black solid lines, which are of course obtained with this alternative method I propose. What this shows is, on the one hand, to what extent the estimates of my method are similar to those of the standard approach, and on the other hand, how many new data points can be obtained by benefiting from the intergenerational persistence of capital income. And that was it. I hope it will be somewhat useful to you and that the video wasn't very boring. Feel free to contact me if you think I can help you in some way or if you have some further doubts.